An excerpt from a full and detailed accounting of the Church of Pragmatic Peace, as reported truthfully by one Horatio Nesbit, at the behest of his most noble and esteemed sire, Leopold of the Cairn, C.M.L. By those who serve and venerate them, they are called the Arisen, or by more florid titles such as the deathless emissaries of the true judge. In the common parlance of the mortal herd, they are mummies. However, throughout this text I will use the term eremite, because it reflects accurately their origin. An eremite is a being of profound antiquity, each one dating back beyond the mortal record of history to the time of ancient Irem. Irem is one of the contenders for the title of the Second City, and there is much scholarly debate as to whether Atlantis, its chief rival, was in truth an outpost of Irem, the latter a colony of the former, or if each was somehow an extension of a third, even more mysterious, post-Diluvian power. I will take no specific position on this long-running issue, but obviously the Church of Pragmatic Peace, like all other cults devoted to the Eremites, favours the claim of Irem. What are these Eremites exactly? They are dead, to be sure, and yet they move and act upon the world just as we kindred do. Even the least of them is older than all but the greatest Cainite elder, by several millennia. Yet their nature is quite distinct from our own, and while the near impossibility of ever destroying one permanently is impressive, their age does not confer upon them the same degree of inherent power. An eremite could be described as the remnant of a mortal body sustained by necromantic art, such as a revenant is. It could also be called a ghost, forever chained to the desiccated form it held in life. But I believe the proper way to understand an eremite is as a spell, an arcane working which has persisted across eons. This helps to frame both the durability of their bodies and their rarely used ability to abandon them entirely for greener pastures, as a gerbil might abandon its tail. It also accounts for the ways in which some individuals retain their memories with profound clarity, while others appear to be nearly blank canvases. Nothing about the eremite is truly permanent, except for the magic which makes it so, and it is by tapping into this magic, which in every case has been bestowed on them by other mightier wonder-workers, now long dead, that the eremite may impose their will upon the world in a variety of strange and idiosyncratic ways, where one might summon a sandstorm from nothing, another might call down stars from the sky, a third might conjure a swarm of ravenous insects, while yet another might erase all capacity for language within the sound of their voice. After many years of careful study, I confess I remain unable to categorize their powers, or to offer any underlying logic as to their capabilities.
In the decades and centuries since its great tragedy, the city of Salem, Massachusetts has become a sanctuary for the strange, the unusual, and yes, the supernatural. Werewolves, vampires, fairies, mages, and other more esoteric things now walk the streets in relative safety. And when the mortal population gets too curious, they do what any community would do. They form a committee. Welcome to The Chimera, a role-playing adventure podcast. Our campaign this season is called Gallows Hill, and it takes place in our version of the World of Darkness, the setting that encompasses Vampire the Masquerade and all its sibling products. I'm Vin LeBate, and I play 8-Ball, a vampire with mental health issues and an assortment of fake IDs, and joining me this season are...
I'm Braden Lamb, and I play Mew, a mummy cat who's into urban planning and sacred geometry.
I'm Jeffrey Bard, and I play Jack Foxglove, a werewolf shaman who coaches the Salem High School football team, the Salem High Witches.
I'm Ethan Bremner, and I play Mother McCree, an immortal Irish witch and American Civil War veteran.
I'm Kacey Smith, and I play Truly Reynard, an animalistic fairy running from her past, sometimes literally.
And I'm Kelly Weissman Asbruce Jackson, the storyteller.
Now, let's get started.
Okay, what's next?
So the next two options on the list were things that required a little bit of research. Presume I did a little bit of that after the meeting last time. So I don't know if you want me to do like a roll or...
So the things you wanted to research were?
So there's someone who says their neighbor is a vampire.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you said that address, we got an address from that.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's someone who had a weird date on Reddit, and I wanted to see if I could essentially Reddit stalk the poster and get some contextual data to figure out where they are, who they are.
Okay. So I don't know, what's research in this? I mean, what's a standard research role? Something like probably intelligence and one of the mental skills.
Investigation or computer?
I think why don't you roll intelligence plus computer for the Reddit stalking?
Do you consider this data analysis?
It's probably fair.
All right. I have a specialty, so that's 2 plus 2 plus 1. 2, 3, 4.
Okay, yeah. Maybe you definitely get plenty about this guy. So this Redditor has a handle that's let's say man of ultimate virtue.
Mm-hmm.
And he is pretty active in a bunch of gross subreddits about various forms of being. All the subreddits, the theme is either the objectification of women or complaining about not getting any. Right? Those are the overall themes of this guy's Reddit presence. Oh, and also Rick and Morty.
Too real.
For real though. This, he's like a generic woe is me, nice guys finish last complainer. But probably like a month ago is when this post about this really strange date that he went on happened, and it has all these references, and it's kind of oblique. It doesn't directly say like something magical happened, but the language in it definitely suggests like he was spun by it. He thinks something was wrong in a way that he can't put his finger on it. He keeps using language like bewitched and enchanted, but in a negative context. And then his subsequent posts, he's been asking questions on some like paranormal investigation Reddits. Like they're short and they're not like the long. Like he's like a super user in some of the other subreddits, but this is more like evidence that he's maybe dipping his toes into some new area of study with like, are succubi real? Like what else? Oh, that's probably about it for now, right? It's still kind of emerging.
Okay.
What time is it at this point?
Oh, by now you're probably looking at 2:33.
Not a real good time to talk to a human, I don't think.
Oh, yeah, I guess that's true, huh?
It's not a great time to have a voluntary conversation with a human, that's for sure.
Is there enough information to figure out, like, the sort of places they were going to?
Yeah. Because he makes a big deal about buying her dinner, and like he's explicit enough that you can get the restaurant off of that. That's easy to do.
And can you figure out like what day or about how far back this would have happened?
Yeah, because he says it was he wrote it like 3 days after the date is when he posted it. I mean, it says that in the post. And he specifically mentions like being really out of it and not, he missed work and he didn't even call in because he was just feeling so weird for between when the date ended and when he wrote the post.
Are there any pictures of him like on his profile or anything? Or
yeah, you got 4 successes, so I think you can probably figure out his Facebook from evidence in the Reddit. Get like Facebook, Instagram. You know, you've basically got his social media presence. He's not. If he was actively hiding it, it might be more complicated than that. But he's just not actually. He's not taking any serious steps at cybersecurity. So, you know, he's like a not trying very hard schlubby white guy.
If we go to like his Facebook and kind of poke around his posts, you know, maybe the week or so before this date, any new, I don't know, comments from or anything that suggests that like he's going to be meeting up with someone that he's talked to.
Yeah. There's a post on Facebook saying that he had a finally going out on a date with someone he's been talking to for a long time. Seems excited.
So we could try and talk to this guy directly.
I mean, if we come up with a reasonable enough cover, I think that's certainly possible. I think there's any chance of kind of backtracing and finding out who he met up with without doing that, because I don't know that we want our interaction all over Reddit, like a frog. I mean, I just have a feeling it's going to end up somewhere no matter what we do.
Yeah. I feel like if we can cut this guy out of the equation, we're better off.
So he would be asleep right now, right, Kelly?
I mean, I would expect most mortals to be asleep right now unless they specifically work nights.
Okay. And I'm trying to remember, how hard is it to find like a specific sleeper once you enter kind of the near dreaming?
So like you want to, for a sleeper, you don't know where they are in the physical world. Is that the idea?
We could theoretically track down where he is.
Right.
So if you wanted to track down where he is and you could get into the same room with a person who's asleep, it's pretty darn easy for you to then enter his dreams.
But I need to be in the same room as him.
Yeah. At least the simple answer.
Okay.
I mean, let's see.
Hey, sorry, you can go into people's dreams?
Yeah, it's a thing.
Huh. Did not know that was a thing. I feel like throughout this conversation, we're just sort of like heading down to that part of town in general.
Right. I mean, might as well be moving there.
Yeah.
I guess get a better sense of like where he lives and like how easy would breaking and entering be.
Yeah.
Like, is he in a big dorm or apartment building, or is he like in a single person house?
Yeah, he lives in an apartment building in I'll just say Beverly because it's got the logical community for apartment building this size to be. It's pretty big. It's probably more than 50 units in it.
I mean, if they know his name, they can probably figure out what unit he's in. They can probably get to that floor. They just probably can't get into... well, that's as close as we could get without, like, breaking in, I would guess.
Right. You should be able... I mean, with just a little bit of social engineering, you can probably get into the average apartment building that doesn't have any security features. So, yeah. Probably piss off some of his neighbors with a call box and then get in the door, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you can get to the front door of his apartment easy. Now, you specifically have a contract for entering somebody's dreams, right?
I have dream steps, yeah.
Yeah. I think you have to touch them, if I remember correctly.
I think so, too. I mean, I think it's... Let me pull it up. Let's see if I can Yeah, he touches a sleeping target and synchronizes his breathing with hers until he can see her dreams. He then steps forward into them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she's got to be in the room.
I mean, how do you feel about breaking and entering?
Never done it before, so let's try it.
Okay. Team discretion.
Does 8-Ball have any skills in this?
Not a lot.
Okay, then I have a contract that might work for this. So let me pull that one up.
I've got a point of larceny and some dex. Theoretically, I can have a lot of dex, so...
You can like adjust how much dex you...
Yep, I can use blood.
Oh, right, that thing that you guys are always...
Blood is a hell of a drug.
Kind of like on, yeah.
So, theoretically, I'm good at picking locks, in the sense that I'm good at everything.
Okay, so I don't have any larceny, but that actually kind of works. Truly's going to use the uncanny contract, which essentially allows her to be the next mundane action that is neither resisted or contested gains the rope quality, including single rolls within extended actions. And if the loophole is that if she doesn't have any skills, it doesn't cost anything, or at least it costs less. Yeah.
Okay. So that would be if you're just trying to pick the lock, right?
Right.
And you don't have any larceny.
Yep.
It's raw dex -1 because it's unskilled.
Okay. So it would be 2.
Her dex is 3, right? Yeah.
Right. Or it's my dex minus, yeah. Okay.
Here.
Okay. 1 success, but I get to roll the other one.
Because it's rote.
Right.
Yep.
Just 1 success.
Okay, well, 1 success is enough. This is not a fancy lock, and he does not have the level of lock enthusiasm that Truly has. So she is able to get the door open. This is a completely uninteresting bachelor apartment, pretty much bare walls, carpet could use a vacuum, large screen TV.
Does it look like there's any lights on anywhere, or?
No, it's dark inside.
Okay. So she'll leave the door open for 8-Ball, and she'll kind of creep in and head towards where the bedroom probably is, or
it's not that big of an apartment, so there's only so many possibilities. Can you give me a stealth roll?
Yep. What's dex plus stealth?
Yeah.
Okay.
8-Ball closes the door quietly and is going to sort of linger behind, just to sort of keep an eye on things and also to avoid knocking things over.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5, 6.
Okay. That went much better for you. So you successfully creep through the apartment in eerie silence. He's a little bit of a snorer, not like a heavy snorer, but a little bit of a snorer. So you're able to hear him once you're in the apartment proper pretty quickly. Follow the noise. He is definitely asleep.
Okay. So Truly's gonna kind of either take a seat on the edge of the bed or a chair next to the bed. Very, very lightly rest her hand on a shoulder or a hand or a foot or kind of whatever's poking out from under the covers, and close her eyes and match her breathing with his, and try and slip into his dreams. By which I think she physically disappears. Is that right?
Yeah, she's physically going in there. It's like entering the Umbra, basically. So
yeah. So, and the way that this looks is that she's kind of breathing slowly, and then she very slowly stands up and steps forward and just kind of vanishes.
Huh.
As Truly disappears, let's switch over to Mew, Coach, Mother McCree, and Amal. Their sewer home invasion is already in progress.
Kindly take your cat and leave.
This isn't my cat, and it's not my dog either. They are their own people. Now, what are you doing with the folks up on the surface? They're their own people too.
He's standing still facing the doorway, shouting. I mean, at this distance, you kind of have to shout. You're not super close up, right?
Mm-hmm.
But his eyes are searching everywhere in his range of vision, trying to see if he can see where Mew landed.
Mm-hmm.
Mew, what are you doing?
He's trying to slink into a corner to hide. He's not trying to slink back with the rest of the group.
Okay.
Maybe like behind the bench?
Mm-hmm.
Or you said there was like a workbench or something?
Yeah, like a big long work table. Why don't you make me a stealth roll?
Okay.
Now with one light off. It's slightly darker.
Yeah. Okay. Oh yeah, boy. 1 success.
Okay.
But his does that maybe reset after does the night creature like Heidi ability reset after he's been noticed?
I don't remember.
Oh, it's player reduces the target number by 1 for stealth rolls made for the Arisen to remain unnoticed. So I guess that's in like contested rolls. In actual darkness or within the mummy's tomb, the reduction becomes -2.
Yeah. I mean, I think he gets the stealth benefit from that.
Okay.
Because that's the point, is to go hide, right? So
yeah.
In the event, it's good enough. I mean, there's no immediate problem given that roll. So
yeah.
I will not be interrogated in my own home. If you would like to talk, I'd be happy to speak with you at another date, but for now, you and your feline friend are intruders. I'm asking you once more, leave or suffer the consequences.
As you may know, we're part of the new sanitation committee, and that's why we're here down in the sewers. We're trying to clean up the muck, and it looks like you made some muck, and we're trying to clean it. So you're gonna have to answer for this muck before we leave here.
Yeah, that's right, says Amal. Still shakily pointing the gun.
By the way, just for the record, she's still in full sniper mode, and somehow, while yelling at the top of her lungs down the hall at him, she's still like stock still. Like you almost can't tell. She's imperceptibly not moving.
Right. So, all right, we're having a shouted conversation. Coach, where are you?
Coach, I guess, would be standing in front of the door party.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he's padded into the room, but as Mother McCree has been talking, he's just been kind of, hackles up, growling a little bit, but kind of standing and not ceding ground.
I am not a man of violence. I'm just really, really gifted at it. Ishmael raises his left hand slightly. Not a lot. He doesn't like bring it up way in front of him. Just raises it from his side a bit. And lightning arcs out of his palm at Amal. What's Amal's defense, Braid?
He's a regular old human.
Yep.
Where's that? Defense? Lowest of dexterity or wits. Those are both 2.
Okay. That's definitely enough to at least incapacitate him. So, Amal is shot in the chest with a lightning bolt and slumps quite passively to the ground.
Hang on. Kelly, would you consider, does this party count as a pack for me?
I'd hope so.
I think it counts as a pack, not necessarily the pack, if that's a meaningful distinction, right? Because Coach does have a designated pack, right?
Yes.
But I'm willing to be relatively flexible about it, I guess.
So the reason I ask is because one of my rage triggers is watching a packmate take lethal damage.
That's a rage trigger. I think that qualifies as a rage trigger.
Okay. I'm trying to figure out what my role is on this. I'm sorry, I did not realize this would come up so quick. I don't think I can roll. Hang on.
We're all learning some new or newish systems here, so there'll be a little bit of a curve.
Is he like truly stitched together like a Frankenstein?
Think more. Do you know? Was it De Niro who played the Frankenstein in the 90s?
Yeah.
Like a little bit more like that, right? No neck bolts, no flat top, but yeah, definite seams.
Oh, I forgot about that. That was a pretty good one. I haven't seen it in forever.
But there are seams, as it were.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
I'm going to pick an innocuous seam.
Mm-hmm.
Not one that's like will kill you if it is torn apart.
Mm-hmm.
And I am going to pull at it with both life and spatial magics.
Okay.
When I do something with both, can I roll both?
I think I will let you choose. If you're using more than one arcana, you can substitute one of the arcana for your gnosis.
Ah, that would be way better. So, okay, yeah, so that would be a 6-die pool as opposed to a 4. 4 successes, and let's say a wrist.
Yeah, I think there's probably a nice seam right along that left wrist that he just shot the lightning bolt from.
Yeah, 4 successes.
4 successes. Okay. And you're using magic against him directly. So, just a second, I have to roll something.
Oh, and I kind of want to describe the visual effect, regardless of what happens.
Yeah, please describe it.
So, in all ways, it seems as though the gun fired. Like, in all ways. It is like gunpowder smoke in the air, bang, everything, except for there is clearly no bullet. And whatever the effect is. But it is as though the gun fired, but there's no bullet.
Neat.
You, and if anybody else is watching carefully, like maybe you'd probably take note of this, Coach, because you're attentive to the situation in a tense moment. That left hand twitches, and a couple of the fingers in it sort of slump, but there's no other obvious effect, right? So there's something happened with that left hand. It looks pained and weakened, but that's all that happened.
Okay, so when Amal gets bolted by the lightning, that triggers basically the werewolf rage.
Yep.
In Coach. So Coach at that point has to shift into Dalu or Urshel. I'm already in Urshel, so I stay there. I suffer from a rage where I must attack an opponent or move toward an opponent. I can avoid doing that by taking a resolve plus composure roll. But if I fail that roll, then I go into full rage where I fade to black and just attack everything. So I guess at this point, I will go ahead and dash toward Ishmael as my action.
Yeah, you've got enough. You can close an attack.
Yeah, I'll close and bite this guy.
Go ahead and roll.
And it's like a gun. Well, it's almost like Amal's gun, right? Like as soon as that thing hits him and Coach sees it, like it's like a bullet went off in his brain and he just acts. So this is going to be a strength plus brawl bite. So 5 and 5. That'll be rolling 10. That'll be 5 successes. That's against his defense?
Against his defense, yeah.
Okay.
You run up and bite him. He brings his, again, left arm with the now weakened hand up to block, to sort of intercept the bite, but you're still able to lock around the forearm.
Okay. So this does an extra 2 damage. I don't know if how we track. It's like it's the same as other systems, right? It rolls over and then you add the damage of whatever weapon it is.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah. Overall, the numbers are all lower in this system, but yes.
Okay. And as Urshel, once per scene, I can add a tilt to my prey. Arm rack, leg rack, or knock down. I'd like to knock him down. So I'd like to use the momentum as I grab his arm and continue to push him towards the ground. Yeah. So I'm just on that arm. I'm shaking it back and forth, and I'm on top of him.
Okay. So you successfully knock him down. It actually probably shoves the workbench over as he falls backwards, but that's fine. You're both very large creatures at this point, so that's enough weight to just kind of knock it away.
Mew, as soon as he's down, Mew's gonna leap out of the shadows and try to grapple again. Just go for the neck. Just teeth, claws, and fur.
Okay, roll again.
3. One is a 10. Just 3.
Okay. I'm gonna say there's some rolling and thrashing about on the ground right now as Coach has his teeth sinking into his forearm, and you're not able to get purchase yet.
Okay.
Mother McCree.
I'm going to just survey the room quickly. Are there any of the arcane runes in the room?
Okay, so to get a good look at the room, you're probably have to go. Well, what are you doing? Are you surveying it just with conventional senses, or are you going to use space to look around the room?
I'm looking through a sniper rifle,
right? So
I at least have basically a telescope into the room,
right?
So there's that. But obviously that's kind of a limited scope in terms of, I can get a good look, but I can only get a good look in windows.
Right.
And space wouldn't let me see arcanic runes per se.
Well, space would let you, for instance, look at the room from a whole bunch of different directions at once. Right?
True. Yeah, let me do that then. Let me throw my perception into the room and look around to see if I can find something that matches the arcane runes.
Okay.
2 successes.
Yeah. There's a bunch. It's not like a mess exactly. It's a living space of someone who doesn't feel the need to make things more organized than they need them to be.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So you've got a lot of stacks of books and papers. They're not just strewn about, and they're actually, things are definitely, put in place in a loving way, in a way that is a person who respects their own things, right? But they're also not neatly organized. It's not hyper regimented. There's not a filing system that's obvious or anything like that. Peering from a bunch of different directions at once, you can definitely see some shapes and images that seem to, at least could well match those designs that were left at the scene of the crime.
Okay.
On pieces of paper, on the covers of books. They're just sort of around. There's a bunch of different places. There's a lot of stuff in this room, and there's a lot of weird stuff in this room, but definitely some of the same glyphs show up.
Okay. So, absolute chaos is going on with them fighting, and Mother McCree is stock silent, stock still, and she shot at him, but now she's going to address him again.
Mm-hmm.
So, why did you murder the man on the surface? She's interrogating him mid chaos fight.
Right, she's interrogating him while he's being wrestled with a giant wolf. The lion need not explain itself to an ant.
Do you fancy us ants? Because I believe my giant wolf friend on top of you might take umbrage to that.
Ishmael's going to start a grapple with you, Jeff.
All right.
So...
Strength plus brawl?
Yeah.
All right. 4 successes.
4 successes. All right. This was enough to beat you, although not by much. So, 1 bashing damage.
1 bashing damage.
Not super relevant to you.
Beep.
So that looks probably like him working his arm out from between your teeth and basically trying to do that human getting a headlock on a wolf move. Anything you want to do to characterize or
I guess Coach is trying to not let him maintain his control, right? He's wiggling like a dog who doesn't want to be held. You know what dogs do.
Yeah. Mew?
Well, while he's attempting to wrestle a werewolf, Mew is going to sneak up again and bite him on the neck. Or I guess really wherever he can get a grapple. Maybe it'll be, a leg, but we'll see how he does. Wowie. 6, 2 10s. 7, 8, 9.
Wow.
Holy moly.
Yeah, definitely you got a hold of that leg. Successfully sunk your teeth in, and you get your additional willpower drain.
Okay. Alternately, mummies can use this affinity to learn languages by... Oh, okay, I have to kiss him on the mouth while I'm doing this.
Yeah.
So is 9 enough to do a smooch?
I mean,
on the mouth, you were going for his leg, though, weren't you?
You want to? No, that's fine.
I was gonna see how the dice rolled to see how he grappled him.
If you would like to kiss him on the mouth,
we're now in a Bugs Bunny cartoon.
In order to learn a language. Yes, you can do that. You rolled 9 successes.
I'm full up on willpower, and he's a curious cat. So pucker up, Buttercup.
What the hell is happening?
If there's a language that Ishmael knows that Mew does not, he will now learn it.
Are the runes a language?
Or well, not learn it like a native language, but knows. Reveals what languages that person knows and counts as an hour listening to them speak that language.
Yeah. I remember thinking this was a weird mechanic when I read it. Okay, so you know all of the languages that he speaks. That's part of the effect, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
So he speaks a lot of languages. He certainly speaks Latin and Greek and French. Does he speak anything else? Latin, Greek, French, Hebrew.
Did you say he was listening to The Rite of Spring, was it?
Yes.
Does he know Russian?
Does he know Russian? No.
Okay, just curious.
But he also speaks German. So any of those, if Mew doesn't already know them, he gets a automatic tutorial in.
Mm-hmm.
Do the runes count as a language?
Not for these purposes.
Okay.
Guys, I'm going to have to take off in about 5 minutes.
Okay. That's all right. Why don't you roll your grapple control roll before we do that?
I will roll my grapple control. Get off me, you damn dirty ape. 4 successes again.
Okay. That's enough to win control for this turn.
Yes!
What action would you like?
So he's holding me by the neck. I finally slip my my head out from his hands, and then lift my head up and go and grab the arm that was holding me and bite it and shake it again.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to maintain the grapple though.
Maintain the grapple. Okay.
Yeah. So that'll be another +2 lethal damage on that one.
Mm-hmm. So from Ishmael's point of view, he just got a creepy mummy cat kiss in which for some reason a lot of language stuff floated before his eyes, and the giant wolf he's wrestling with just got the upper hand for the minute and bit him again. He winces. Doesn't make a lot of noise, but he makes some noise at the pain.
But does he?
Oh, right, he doesn't because of the kiss. Gosh, okay. So now he's just got nothing to say. They can't make noise. Can they try to make noise?
Yeah.
Okay.
They can move their mouth. He can bang on stuff.
Right. No, he moves his mouth like he's trying, like he was going to give a yelp or something but there's no sound comes out. Mother McCree.
I bite his tongue.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh.
Goodness gracious.
I'm really not trying to kill him or attack him per se. You guys are, but you are not in your control, and Mew already established where he was going. Actually, I'm going to lower my gun and attend to Amal. How badly is he hurt?
Amal is very badly hurt.
Okay, well,
his life is fading fast.
If only there were a life mage in the area.
If only.
I seek to. These are conventional lightning burns. They're not like it's not magical beyond the fact that it was.
I don't know what magical beyond the fact that it was lightning would be.
He was electrocuted. He was
electrocuted.
Okay, yeah. All right, so I'm going to attempt to knit his wounds. 2 successes.
Okay, you're seeing. I'm going to sort of portion this off. You're seeing to Amal, at least for this this turn.
Sure.
Mew. What are you doing?
Just gonna keep grappling until this guy's unconscious.
Okay.
Because we can question him later once he's restrained, or I've even got ways to question him while he's unconscious. If that comes up, we'll see. Ooh, wow. 5.
Okay. You maintain control of this grapple for another turn. So you won that roll. Jeff, can you give me one more grapple roll?
One more grapple roll. 3 successes.
Okay. It's a struggle. It's a back and forth. He's oddly quiet, which is a little weird, right? A lot of probably swatting at Coach's head in order to try and get him to unclench his jaws and release. And then he just sort of stops doing anything offensive for a split second, and his entire body is charged with electricity. So that'll be 4 lethal damage for both Coach and Mew, since you're both in contact with him.
Okay. Mew has 4 levels of health.
Oh my gosh, really?
I think for now that's it for him for the scene until I figure out if there's. I'll let that be it for him for the scene.
Okay. Does that re-up your rage trigger? Does that happen a second time, basically?
It does not happen a second time. Basically, I'm in Wasu M which is the soft rage, until I either shift to Garu or the time runs out, time being 1 minute.
Yep.
We're going to have to talk about this because it seems impossible. I'm supposed to get an exceptional success to not go into the hard rage. And I only have 6 dice to roll. So I don't know how I get there.
Yep.
So that would mean that I'm basically going into this crazy rage every single combat effectively, which seems unreasonable.
Well, it might be appropriate. It seems difficult to manage.
Well, I mean, the problem is that I start attacking everyone, including my party mates, right? So it becomes unless they go into Garu, I basically attack anybody who's not in Garu. So that's going to be a problem because I don't want to kill everybody.
Yes, that will be a problem.
But we can have a discussion about that later, and we can figure out some way around that. But it doesn't push me further. I've got basically a 1 minute timer, and then I go into the hard rage, and then we fade to black.
Okay. I think.
Ooh. Okay.
Did you figure something out, Britton?
Yeah, he doesn't necessarily need to be unconscious or dead. It might actually be dead if he's at 0 health. So it looks like he can reflexively spend a pillar to repair some damage. So he's going to do that and back off.
Okay. But you're still in the clinch, right, Jeff?
Correct.
Okay. Then I guess let's roll one more time.
One more time. And we're going to go with 4 successes.
Okay. You won that grapple. So is that another damage?
That'll be another 2 points of damage from my teeth.
Okay. You've successfully got your teeth around his throat at this point. And with that, he throws up his hands and taps the ground behind him.
Okay.
I don't know if that's going to impact your behavior, but that's definitely what he's doing.
Okay, so at that point, that's when I'm going to start trying to roll my composure rolls to back off. I basically, instead of doing anything, I just spend time trying to collect myself and try to get the exceptional success.
I'm going to say we're going to hand wave that for now.
Okay.
Because it's not dramatically interesting if you just Hulk out and kill everyone on screen.
Right, yeah.
There might be times when I'm not going to let you hand wave it, and so we'll talk about some strategies for that for the future.
Okay.
But for now, we'll just leave it be like, okay, all right, he gets his composure back together. Because a semi-total party kill at this point in time is not narratively interesting to me.
Agreed.
Okay. Ishmael has yielded. And as soon as he's able to talk, right, he's no longer being silenced. He doesn't have something actively around his throat stopping him from communicating. He says, I yield. I'm prepared to appear before the court.
Coach goes ahead and backs up, gives him some space to stand up.
We weren't even going to bring you to the court. We were just trying to find out what happened. But if that's what you'd like, I guess we can do that.
He nods. All right, I think we'll stop there because I know, Jeff, you're low on time, and we'll continue to find out what it means that Ishmael, who has been at large for a long time without answering to the authority of the abnormal courts, has agreed to appear before them.
That's it this week for The Chimera. Our theme music this season is Down Among the Dead Men, performed by Adrienne Howard, Emily Peterson, and Dirk I. Tiede. For information on other music used in this episode, check the show notes. You can support The Chimera by going to patreon.com/chimerapod. Patrons at any amount get access to behind-the-scenes setting and system info, art polls, and exclusive side games and one-shots. You can also find us online at thechimera.space or on Twitter and Facebook at ChimeraPod. We'll be back in 2 weeks with a new episode, so until then, thanks for listening. Hey gang, nice to be with you all again. Sorry for the length of the gap. You know how brains are. At the very least, I'm confident that the next episode will be out on schedule, and after that, well, I'm hoping for the best. We did have a couple tangential things occur during the gap, though. I got to take part in International Podcast Month again, playing in a one-shot called Fey Court Fiasco. You can find that on the IPM feed, or check their website at internationalpodcastmonth.com or on Twitter at podmonth. We also released a game. Petitioners of Zed is a micro-RPG set in the universe of the Old Bones, in which players can explore a haunted swamp planet in search of an elusive space witch, who you might recall from a certain flashback episode. It uses a simple D10-based system and features 10 playable alien species and a system for randomly generating haunted bog encounters. You can pick up Petitioners of Zed on itch.io or on drivethrurpg.com, or you can grab a copy for free if you're subscribed to our Patreon. I think that's all the big stuff. Take care of yourselves out there, and we'll see you again in 2 weeks.